A former Minister of Public Enterprises is to hand himself over at a police station in Pretoria over a state capture-related investigations. But for more on this, we're joined on the line now by SABC News reporter Samkele Maseko. Samkele, good morning. So this one is, quite interesting given the timing of everything that's happening. And now going back to state capture, talk to us. What do we know about what is likely to happen this morning?
A very good morning to you, Sakina. Indeed, a former cabinet minister and sitting ANC National Executive Committee member will hand himself over this morning to a police station in Pretoria on state capture-related cases. The matter does relate to a state-owned company, Transnet, during his time and the particular links to the Gupta family and what transpired, particularly when it came to the capturing of the state-owned enterprises during that particular period that was being investigated by the State Capture Commission of Inquiry led by former Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo.
So, Samkele, we know the person is expected to hand themselves over. I mean, by process of elimination, we probably could narrow this down to a few names, but they are expected to hand themselves over. How serious do we know these charges to be?
The charges are quite serious because I spoke to this particular individual in the past 2-3 days, and one of the words that they said was that isugile in isiZulu, which basically means that it has effectively started now, and that they are very eager to go and clear their names when it comes to these particular charges that they are facing. It is an individual that has had pretty much an illustrious career in government that, particularly when it came to the years of Jacob Zuma, did take off a bit of a turn. And there was a negative turn in that particular period of his career within politics. He moved from various ministries at the time of the era of former President Zuma, from a deputy minister to a minister, and ultimately to the era of President Ramaphosa, moved to other ministries, but ultimately did not make it back to cabinet within this seventh administration that is currently within government of the Government of National Unity. But it is a person who's high profile, who is very vocal when it comes to the issues of ANC political machinations and the governance of the country. And it is a well-learned individual whom is basically saying that he's going to take this on the chin. It's amongst the many political battles that he's faced in his life. And he will ultimately, without fighting, hand himself over this morning at 8 o'clock. And then the journey begins to try and clear his name. We don't know what will transpire politically, but we do know that the processes within the African National Congress dictate that once an individual is charged, they must then voluntarily step aside from all responsibilities that they have within the African National Congress.
So we know that it's a former minister of Public Enterprises, as you said, someone who is still very much within the machinations of the ANC. We know former Minister of Public Enterprises, Pravin Gordhan, he's passed away. That eliminates him. There's obviously someone like Lynn Brown. She is, as far as I know, not that involved anymore with the political aspects, or I haven't seen that. So, process of elimination, Sam, how are we doing with that narrowing down?
All I can say is that it's none of those particular individuals. None of those particular individuals. It's none of those particular individuals. But I will not divulge names. All I can say is that if you look at Candy Crush in one of the parliamentary sessions, and who was playing Candy Crush, then you may try to deduce who that former individual is. And all I will say is that the nation will be all right. So it is definitely up to you to then deduce who may be that particular individual handing themselves over. But they are very much eager to go to the courts today. They don't know the processes as yet of what will transpire, whether they will have to go apply for bail today or tomorrow. But it does certainly look like it's going to be a long day for them. And remember, when the former Speaker of the National Assembly, Mapisa Ngakula, was arrested, she handed herself over at a police station in Pretoria, and ultimately she then went to apply for bail at the Pretoria Magistrates Court. That may be the same processes that may ultimately be followed today. Then after that, a letter may also have already been sent to the Secretary General of the African National Congress of this individual recusing themselves of any political responsibilities within the ANC due to the nature of them being charged. And they will ultimately follow the likes of Thabang Makwetla, the former ANC convener of deployees in Limpopo, and ANC NEC member, former deputy minister, who's ultimately been charged as well for gratuitous gifts that came with security upgrades at his home due to African Global Operations, formerly trading as Bosasa. So the similar processes may ultimately be followed with this former cabinet minister at public enterprises, finance, and other ministries that they may have occupied within the administrations when the ANC still had total power. They are still currently in the National Assembly.
And what time are we expecting the person to hand themselves over, Sam?
We're expecting the person to hand themselves over at 8 o'clock this morning at a police station in Pretoria. They are seemingly, or are told, they are getting ready to head that way to Pretoria, but it does seem as if it's going to light up a bit of political imagination within the governing party, particularly noting that this individual does still have those particular aspirations of one day leading the African National Congress. They have in the recent times tried to turn their life around, particularly their political careers, lived a very quiet life away from the limelight. You only saw them more prevalent once again in the passing of their former leader within the ANC Youth League. That would be Natim Tetra in recent times, where they were speaking very much eloquently about their lives and times with working with Natim Tetra, building ANC structures, particularly in the then Southern Natal region in KwaZulu-Natal, ultimately going on to build the ANC in the greater province of KwaZulu-Natal, amalgamating the three regions at the time, working with the likes of Sbusiso Ndebele, Dr. Zwelin Mkhize, and many others in building the 11 regions of KwaZulu-Natal. And ultimately, they then had a national footprint of being a president of the ANC Youth League and other structures of the African National Congress.